Television. My name is Micheline Taka.
And my name is Akmene Avo Ajaja. Thank you so much for joining us for the news. Robert Frimpong-Manso is our signer for today. In the details, President Nana Akufo-Addo arrived in the Togolese capital Lomé to a rousing welcome at the start of a 3-day state visit to the neighboring country.
President Akufo-Addo, who made the trip to Togo by road, was met at the Aplao border by the Togolese President Faure Gnassingbé.
Amidst the waving of flags of the two countries, President Akufo-Addo and President Faure Gnassingbé acknowledged the cheers by people as they made their way to the presidential palace for their first meeting. President Akufo-Addo's visit to Togo is part of the first phase of a tour of countries in the ECOWAS region. The visit will afford him the opportunity to introduce himself as the new Ghanaian leader formally to the governments and peoples of Ghana's neighboring countries, explore new areas and deepen bilateral relations with them. Again, it is to reaffirm Ghana's full commitment to the ECOWAS project. Whilst in Togo, President Akufo-Addo will visit the new border post with his counterpart, President Faure Gnassingbé, before the pair hold bilateral talks at the presidential palace. There will be a working ministerial sessions by the two delegations which will take place simultaneously at the palace. Foreign Minister Mr. Shirley Ayokobuchi, Trade and Industry Minister Mr. Alan Tremantin, National Security Minister Mr. Albert Kandapa, Interior Minister Mr. Ambrose Derry, Defense Minister Mr. Dominic Nitiwo, and Sanitation and Water Resources Minister Mr. Kofi Ada are all part of President Akufo-Addo's delegation. President Akufo-Addo will also be taking on a tour of the border at Lomé before interacting with the Ghanaian community resident in Togo. A state dinner hosted by the Togolese president will be held in honor of President Akufo-Addo later that evening. The president will depart on Thursday morning for Ouagadougou to begin his 2-day visit to Burkina Faso.
The Right to Information Bill and the Broadcasting Bill will be passed into law this year. The Minister for Information, Mr. Mustafa Hamid, said the two bills will be relayed before Parliament when the House resumes sitting this month. At a ceremony on Wednesday at the Ghana International Press Center in Accra to mark World Press Freedom Day, Mr. Hamid gave the assurance that the government will work for the passage of the two bills into law. The right to information is a fundamental human right to have access to information held by government. Freedom of information also sets the foundation for good governance, transparency, accountability, and corruption. In Ghana, the Right to Information Bill is guaranteed by the 1992 Constitution and when passed into law will give substance to Article 21(1)(f) of the Constitution, which states that all persons shall have the right to information subject to such qualifications and laws as are necessary in a democratic society. The Right to Information Bill was drafted in 1998 and has since 2013 been before Parliament. The National Broadcasting Bill was also formulated in 2010 by the Ministry of Information with support from the World Bank. The bill is to provide comprehensive legislation on broadcasting services regulated by the National Media Commission and the National Communications Authority in a manner consistent with the Constitution. At this year's celebration of World Press Freedom Day, advocates of the two bills called for action this time around. The minority leader, Mr. Haruna Idrisu, said the media needs to be innovative and adaptive to current trends.
Ghana is not in search of it. Neither is Parliament in a dilemma. We are just on the route and we are searching and surfing very closely towards the passage of the twin bills of Right to Information Bill and the Broadcasting Bill. One can understand your ambivalence and your disappointment both in the executive and in Parliament, but be assured of our commitment to pass into law these two important legislation.
The Minister for Information, Mr. Mustafa Hamid, said the media cannot be truly free until the Right to Information Bill and the Broadcasting Bill have been passed into law.
That's exactly what I came to do. to give you an assurance that passing the right to information law is non-negotiable and would happen in this year, and that in the May to July session of Parliament, it will be before Parliament for debate and for passage.
The Deputy Majority Leader, Madam Adjoa Safo, said the House was in the process of passing the bills when the 6th Parliament was dissolved. The Chairman of the National Media Commission, Mr. Kwesi Jana-Pinten, and Professor Audrey Gajekbo, who is the Dean of School of Information and Communication Studies, the University of Ghana, said members of the media must not relent in their effort in ensuring that the bills are passed into law.
The media go to Parliament and ask your MP, ask the committee dealing with it, where are we? You know, like all of us, we prioritize. If you put pressure on me, I'll prioritize. If you leave it, well, they have other things to do. So we have a duty to keep pressing.
We cannot always flag the weaknesses of the media without asking the questions not only about the politics, but the economy. The political economy of the media is important, and we have determined that on the side of politics, it's an enabling environment. Our politicians are much more respectful of the freedom of the media. But how about the economic side? You know, how are the media able to survive?
Meanwhile, as the world marks Press Freedom Day, African journalists are facing a new trend of attack, social media threats, harassment, and many more. This was revealed in a survey conducted on 307 journalists from 36 countries.
Gone were the days when media freedom was mainly attacked by government and political entities that used threats of closure, arrest, and court action to stifle press freedom. In 2017, the attacks have shifted online, with 48% of African journalists harassed on social media. These statistics emerged from a survey released by South Africa-based communication training company Frey Intermedia. Most of the journalists that suffered social media harassment were from Zimbabwe, with 67%, with a list from the Democratic Republic of Congo as a result of the low rate of internet access. The online survey covered 307 African journalists from 36 countries who use social media to engage with their audience. All the journalists were found to be regularly engaged on social media platforms, with 95% of them engaged professionally. The overwhelming majority of 89% of journalists were required to be on social media as part of their job. The report said 2/3 who used social media had both personal and professional accounts. 29% of the journalists surveyed believed there were political motives behind the harassment. Most of these journalists were from Cameroon, Nigeria, and Mozambique. On the occasion of this year's World Press Freedom Day, the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, has called for an end to the crackdown on journalists who he described as a voice of the voiceless. The International Day was proclaimed by the UN General Assembly in 1993, following a recommendation adopted at the 26th session of the UNESCO's General Conference in 1991.
Still on the media, it was revealed in a random survey by our news team that literacy rate could be affecting newspaper sales in Ghana. The vendors say people's ability to read determines their interest in newspapers. GBC24 saw little about development issues in the headlines. Napoleon Atukito reports.
The media broadly mirrors society. They reflect past and present happenings and project into the future. Described as the fourth estate of the realm, the media gives a voice to the voiceless and plays a watchdog role. In Ghana, the media have held public office holders to accountable governance. On 3rd May 2017, the newspapers advertised on vendor stands in Ghana presented screaming headlines, obviously to draw patronage. The personality which appeared to dominate the stands was President Nana Akufo-Addo. He was on the front pages of The Informer, The Observer, and El Hajj. The opposition newspapers appeared to criticize him, while the friendly ones projected his activities. The other personality who gets the spotlight is businessman Ibrahim Mahama, the younger brother of ex-President John Mahama. Klieg lighten are being shed on his business activities. The paper with the largest circulation in Ghana, the Daily Graphic, had interesting headlines. In a split of 3, Daily Graphic blows the lid on the dynamics within the main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress. The paper, known for its authoritative sources, confirms the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Alban Babe, as a possible flag-bearer candidate of the NDC. Another notable tabloid, the Daily Guide, projects a contentious run in the NDC flag-bearer race, pitching Babin against the immediate past president, John Mahama. Of course, it bore a human interest story about a man who posed as woman in Kumasi. Those which indulged in muckraking journalism are the Republic and the Chronicle newspapers. Muckraking is media practice specifically to dig out moral corruption and administrative ineptitude in society. Newspaper vendors and a customer explains which tabloids are most patronized.
A lot asks about politics. That's what they ask. And if there's an accident which occurred somewhere, they will ask, is it in this paper, is it in Daily Guide, Daily Graphic? Yeah.
Most of the time, unless there's a hot news in the paper, before people patronize it.
There are so many fabrications about people that normally when they say it, and when you hear it, you can't predict whether it is true or not. Unless you come, then you purchase the newspaper and read it for yourself and know whether it is true or not.
The Insight newspaper sticks out in the period under review as crusader on minority rights. The paper dilates on a statement made about them by a diplomat. The Dispatch had no political undertones in its headlines. Most of the sports newspapers gave attention to the big game between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, in which the Ronaldo magic enabled Madrid to pummel Atletico to submission. The common thread in all the headlines was the desire to catch attention and to promote sales. Napoleon Atukitu reporting.
In other news, the Association of Small-Scale Miners at Dunkwanofe in the Central Region has carried out a swoop on some illegal miners in the district. The latest crackdown follows a media-led campaign against illegal mining in the country. Illegal mining has led to the destruction of the environment and the pollution of some water bodies.
River Ofen is one of the 3 tributaries of River Pra, which takes its source from the highlands of the Kwewu Plateau in the eastern region. The recent rush for gold has seen the Ofen polluted to the extent that the river itself, aquatic life, and the trees along its banks, which protects the river from possible dryness, have all been destroyed. For some time now, residents of Dunkwanofe and its surrounding communities are forced to depend on boreholes for water consumption. It is against this backdrop that the Association of Small-Scale Miners, the police, immigration, and officials from NADMO swooped down on illegal miners in the district. Some of the communities visited include Techikrum, Buabenso, Chichire, Baria, and also some communities under the Upper Dentra East Municipal Assembly. With the help of local divers, a raft, a Chinese invention which the miners use on the river, was seized and brought to the river bank. According to the team, the raft has been identified as the major source of pollution of the Ofen. The team later set fire into it. In all, about 70 rafts were destroyed after the operation. A representative from the Minerals Commission, Mr. Wilson Wanas Zoga, said the team will continue its work until all illegal miners' operation on the Ofen River are removed.
As we went round, we saw that majority of the people have complied. Just a few of the recalcitrant ones are still, operating in isolated cases, particularly in the night. And today alone, we have been able to dismantle or destroy a good number of them, summing up to 19. Some cases where we can't remove the machines and dismantle it, remove it from the river, we have done it. Other cases where we cannot, we try to set the machines ablaze with the notion that these people will not come back again.
The Vice President of the Dunkwanofin Small Scale Miners Association, Mr. Elliot Lamy, was happy with work done so far.
We didn't encounter much challenges because the people have to run away from their boats, and that gave us easy access. Some of them even abandoned the place before we went there because they were operating in the night, and in the daytime they always go to sleep, so you don't see them. You see their boats, and so you destroy them.
We started the operation on Monday. We had about 19 boats destroyed. As we start today, we've not closed yet. Now we have about 37 boats. As you can see, we are on the process of destroying some of them, just to make sure that the stubborn ones, to send a signal to them. We are not happy to destroy their boats. We just want them to move, to comply to the direction of the minister, so that the minister or the government will come up with the proper mechanisms for us to mine.
Still news are live on GBC24 and GTV. Now, there's crisis at the Tema flour mill. The workers have shut down the plant until management pays all salary arrears owed them. The production plant at Tema flour mills has been out of use since December 2016 following the action by the workers over non-payment of salaries.
On a daily basis, the Tema flour mill produces close to 1,000 bags of flour for industrial use and to the Ghanaian market. Since December 2016, the flour mill plant has been shut down because management said it could not make good returns on investment to be able to pay its workers. Management of the mill says it is negotiating and soliciting assistance from financial institutions to ensure the company bounces back. Following the difficulties, aggrieved workers shut down the flour mill. The workers say they will keep the plant shut till management respond to their grievances.
They give us a letter that they will be doing some maintenance, so we have to wait in the house, but they will be paying us. So the first month they didn't pay us, which is January. Second month, so we contacted our mother union. So they went to the ICU. So they came to management, they negotiated, and they said, oh, they'll pay. Then they gave us 1 month's salary. Now we have arrears of 3 months, February to May, April. We take 200 and 300 home.
The Tema flour mill has been one of the major producers of flour in the country. The workers say there is a need to arrest the situation before any shortage of the product hits the market.
The Ministry of Works and Housing says government will ensure that all affordable housing projects dotted across the country are completed and expanded to cover other communities and villages. The affordable housing project is intended to close the gap in the housing deficit, which is estimated at 1.7 million. The Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Atachia, made the statement on a visit to the affordable housing project in Tema.
In 2005, the government introduced the Affordable Housing Project to provide houses for low-income earners, but most of these houses were not completed. In 2010, government partnered the private sector to complete the affordable housing projects and began new ones. All these efforts by successive governments were to find a lasting solution to the challenges facing the housing sector. At present, the affordable housing projects in Boteman and Gung have been handed to SNIT and TDC to complete. It is for this reason that on his visit to the affordable housing project site, the minister first met with management and staff of TDC to ascertain their circumstances. The Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Samuel Atachia, together with his 2 deputies, visited the Community 1 Site 3 redevelopment project by TDC and the Tema Newtown Security Service housing project for the Ghana Navy. Mr. Atachia told GBC24 that government will ensure that the National Solar Rooftop Policy is implemented to provide power to all the housing units.
We're going to use it as a policy. Every building which government wants to put up should have solar panel usage as what we need. But what I'm seeing here, I'm very impressed.
The minister also visited the Temakaiser flats. Seeing the deplorable nature of the buildings there, he gave an inkling as to what the next move might be. It appears government would give the TDC the go-ahead to demolish the old structures and commence with new ones under the full redevelopment plan of Tema. At the Kong Affordable Housing Project site, the managing director of TDC, Mr. Joe Abe, said out of the 104 housing units handed to them last year, only 24 has been completed. At Saglemi, the minister was impressed with the 1,500 housing units under construction by OAS. He said government hopes to replicate similar projects across the country.
If we make the rural place attractive, you'll find people who, if we have good road networks and the transportation is very good, who live in the hinterland but come to work in the city.
To bridge the gap in the housing deficit, funding is key, hence the ministry is proposing bank for the housing sector.
You're watching News Hour live on GBC24. We go for a quick break. We'll be back with the business segment. Do stay.
My name is Morris Ogbete. Time to talk business, brought to you by NIB and Ernest Chemist. Now, African Central Bank governors are discussing new ways by which monetary policies can be used to ensure financial stability. Members at the end of the two-day conference in Accra are expected to come out with a blueprint focusing on how central banks can adopt communication strategies to reach out to the general public.
Transparency and communication have not traditionally been considered a top priority for monetary policy makers. Only until a couple of decades ago, the conventional wisdom in central banking circles was that monetary policy makers should say as little as possible and say it rather cryptically. Nowadays, it is widely recognized that increased transparency and enhanced communication are essential and beneficial ingredients of an effective monetary policy. The reasons are that it helps in the democratic legitimacy of independent central banks, the efficient functioning of the economy, and the effectiveness with which monetary policy can attain its objectives. Despite the growing recognition of the importance of transparency in monetary policy making, no consensus has emerged on what the appropriate degree of transparency is and what constitutes an optimal communication strategy. This is because these two factors can contribute to the effective attainment of policy objectives and the efficient functioning of markets. These are the issues before the players of central banks from almost every part of Africa who are in Accra for 2 days. The Executive Secretary of the Association of African Central Banks, Papa Lamine Diop, said the demands of the public is changing and this calls for more transparency from central banks.
New communication challenges are emerging, such as the strategy to be adopted in financial markets that are extremely sensitive to information provided by central banks to guide expectations. Given the challenges posed by central banks' communication, a cautious approach is needed to avoid undermining their credibility. In this regard, the following main objectives are assigned to the 2017 Continental Seminar. Contribute to understanding the increased importance of central bank communication in achieving the objectives of monetary policy and financial stability, while highlighting the risks associated with this communication.
The Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Isiama, said central banks' pronouncements have economic and social impact. Therefore, players must adopt effective communication strategies that will enhance accountability and transparency.
As central bankers,
We must appreciate new communication trends and develop communication strategies to leverage existing media technology to build confidence of public market players. African central banks should also develop a framework for comprehensive education packages to improve financial literacy across all the sectors of the economy. This will enhance market appreciation of monetary policy decisions and central bank actions for appropriate response.
Financial experts say the markets and the general public need to be convinced by central banks' communication and policy action that are consistent and effective, and this will ensure predictability and credibility of monetary policy, which are vital for the effective management of expectations in the financial markets.
And still in business, Accra Brewery ABL has launched a new brand campaign for its non-alcoholic malt beverage, Better Malt, dubbed "The Only Way Is Up." Better Malt is fortified with vitamins, minerals and nutrients.
ABL is Ghana's premier brewery, and since 1931, the company has played a key role in the manufacturing, marketing and distribution of beer, sparkling soft drinks and non-alcoholic malt beverages. 2 years ago, ABL launched Better Malt onto the Ghanaian market and has achieved significant success, selling over 9 million packs. Management attributes the growth of Better Malt to the determination of the company to increase its market share in the non-alcoholic beverage industry. In the non-alcoholic beverage industry in the country, the country director of ABL, Mr. Philip Redmond, reaffirmed the company's commitment to invest in its capacity in order to satisfy its increasing number of consumers.
What we feel now is, after 2 years of success, we wanted to just reinvigorate the brand a little bit, give it a little bit of a new look. The product fundamental is exactly the same, so the liquid inside the bottle is exactly the same, no changes to the product you'll drink. But we wanted to just show that there's a lot of products now in the market, and we wanted to show that why we are stand out from those products.
Expressing her appreciation to shareholders and distributors for their loyalty, the brand manager for Better Malt, Mrs. Portia Ofeya-Sari, said the latest campaign lends credence to the company's culture of focus and zero complacency to guarantee lasting competitive advantage.
Better Malt is a true malt. It's brewed with barley, hops, and vitamins B1, B2, B3, B5, B6. And all these vitamins and nutrients provide us with the energy and boost that we need. So the major difference between us and the rest is that we are a true malt. We go through the brewing process.
ABL says as the first company to launch a true brewed malt in PET, it will work diligently to justify the trust that Ghanaians have reposed in the brand without compromising its quality and nutritional benefits.
Let's go to the interbank market, where the pound is selling at 5 cedis 41 pesos, the US dollar going for 4 cedis 19 pesos, and the euro also selling at 4 cedis 56 pesos. On the international commodities markets, the price of light crude dropped to $48.19 per barrel and cocoa at $1,805 per ton. Gold is going for $1,252.20 an ounce.
Welcome back to the news. This is the health segment brought to you by Yamvita and FPAC. Midwives across the country have put together a framework to improve services provided to patients. This is an attempt to further decrease maternal and neonatal mortality in the country.
A nationwide assessment was conducted by the Midwifery Association of Ghana prior to drafting the document in 2011. They identified the achievements, gaps and challenges facing the various sectors in the healthcare delivery. The survey revealed that most fertile women are adapting to family planning, which has shown an increase in the use of contraceptives. It also revealed that maternal and neonatal deaths are reducing, but at a low rate. The framework will also assist policymakers improve upon and expand quality midwifery services for the benefit of the public in the areas of sexual and reproductive, maternal, newborn and adolescent health services. The incidence of inadequate personnel, logistics and resources to man the clinics and CHIPS compound are some avoidable setbacks, especially in the rural areas. Mrs. Gladys Brew is the Safe Motherhood Coordinator of the Ghana Health Service and says the situation is no different in the urban areas.
Right here in Greater Accra and in some parts where you see women, because of the health insurance for the public sector, the private sector are willing to provide antenatal care, but when it comes to delivery, very few are helping. So you see places like Tema General Hospital, women, all of them in labor, but there is no space for them. They are sitting on benches, some experiencing silent rapture and all that. That is what is happening in a place like Greater Accra, where there's a paradox. Why am I saying there's a paradox? Because we have all the service provider, the personnel here, and yet institutional mortalities are one of the highest.
The in charge of reproductive health systems, Dr. Luc Debeni, insists that the role of midwives and nurses should be clearly elaborated.
The statistics you are presenting are merging nurses and midwives. We should stop that. To change that and to count on midwives and to count on nurses separately. Because the confusion is coming from here. The people think that midwives can do exactly what nurses are doing and the inverse. It's not true. Midwives are midwives. And I think we need to work together to see how we can have data. And the midwife associations, the college, etc., should work on that.
In 2015, WHO said out of 830 maternal deaths recorded, 550 of them were in sub-Saharan Africa.
Also in health, the only health facility that serves the people of Achim, Apedra and adjoining communities in the eastern region has seen no major rehabilitation since it was built some 40 years ago. The chief of Achim, Apedra, Osaberima Asante Frimpong, has appealed to the government to renovate and upgrade the facility.
Achim Apedra in the East Achim municipality of the Eastern region is a farming community with over 2,000 inhabitants. The only clinic in the town also serves neighboring communities like Nkroso, Akoko, Amanfrum, Densuso, Obretima and Omenaka. It is the first port of call during road accidents since it is the only health facility located between Suhum and Chebi on the Accra-Kumasi highway. Since it was built about 40 years ago, the clinic has not seen any rehabilitation. The roof of the clinic leaks whenever it rains, the window battens have removed and the nets are all torn. The building has developed cracks while some part of the facial board is rotten. The clinic has no laboratory and the only place of convenience for both staff and clients who patronize the clinic is the pit latrine with no doors.
We, the youth, are trying to take it upon ourselves to go to the hills and crannies of this country to make sure we solicit for support to renovate this facility. Nobody knows. This clinic is right at on the Accra-Kumasi highway. And look at what happened yesterday. There was a major accident, and this is the first place of call. If this place is put in good use, I'm sure people can come here for first aid before they can be transferred to Kolebud or Konfanochi and other Kufodia and others. So we are appealing to anybody who is hearing us this afternoon or whatever time it is, that please, 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 our Peja clinic is crying for help.
The Kontihene of the town, Bafo Owure, appealed for reconstruction of the roads in the town to make them more travel. The Achim Apejahene, Osaberi Masante Frimpong Manso, appealed to government to come to their aid to help save lives.
Accident yamen fasa mao accident bisi kwan no se se a ese omunyina be fa peja kurum kura isu ne yaketwe bi kwan na nye enti kan no sokura na be fa kura na ya asem.
For now, most people, especially accident victims, are hauled to the Suhum Government Hospital, though that facility appears to be overstretched.
Hello, good evening. Let's talk sports. And remember that Ghana is hosting the Rugby Africa West 1 tournament. And this afternoon, the Squirrels of Benin put up a spirited performance to beat an experienced Togolese side by 14 points to 12 in the Rugby Championship. They will be facing Ghana on Sunday.
The Rugby Africa Regional Challenge Group West 1 tournament entered match day 2 on Wednesday, May 3rd at the Accra Sports Stadium. It was between Benin and Togo. Benin Abraham Alonde made the first try on the 15th minute. Pascal Kinovu converted to give Benin a surprise lead. 10 minutes later, Togo got the needed equalizer through Yaovi Leon, with Kojovi Mawena converting successfully. Back from the break, Togo took the lead on the 64th minute, but they were unable to increase their tally through the conversion. But the score at 12 points to 7 for Togo, the Squirrels regrouped and mounted an intense pressure. On the 74th minute, Luis Hodonu made a try and was awarded a penalty try, which Pascal Kinovu converted to change the scoreline to 14 points to 12 in favor of Benin. Togo will next face Ghana on Sunday.
So still staying with rugby, and the captain of the national rugby 15s team, Michael Akubos, is upbeat about Ghana's chances in winning the 2017 Rugby Africa Regional Challenge Group West 1.
It was easy. We were trying to do better than this, I think. We didn't go much, but I think we are reserving the rest for the next match. That's the most important match, and that's why we are here. This first match, you could see it's not that easy, but we did our best. We gave out our best as a team, and we made Ghana proud again. To us, it wasn't about knowing someone. We were in to do business, and we are ready to kill everybody down to make sure we take the trophy back home. We are hosting, and this is our home. We have to make Ghana proud. That's why when we meet them, we don't have no friendship, nothing. It's business, strictly business. After the game, there's more friendship. We're going to go back and prepare and then watch to play Togo on Sunday. We want everybody out there to come on board. Come and watch us on Sunday and let us do our best. Come and cheer us up. We see the crowds there is what makes us proud. That we're also doing our part for Ghana. So everybody should come and do their part for Ghana.
Let's now talk football now, where the draw for the round of 32 of the MTN FA Cup competition has been held at the M Plaza Hotel in Accra. Accra Hearts of Folk will host second-tier side Kutuku Royals, while Kumasi Asante Kotoko travel to second to face Proud United.
The round of 32 games of the competition will be played between the 18th and the 22nd of May this year. In Zone 1, Nia Salamina will take on Techiman 11 Wonders, while All Stars will tackle Bolga All Stars. Brecum Chelsea will face BA United. Bichim United will battle Guan United, while Steadfast FC will face Power SC. In Zone 2, Proud United will welcome Kumasi Asante Kotoko. King Faisal will tackle Wasaman United. Gold Stars will lock horns with Elmina Sharks. Summertex 1996 FC will then face Asokwa Deportivo. And Mediama SC will be welcoming New Edubiasi FC. In Zone 3, Accra Hearts of Oak will play Kotoku Royals. Unistar Academy will take on Wafa SC. Liberty Professionals will be at home to Uncle T Stars. Dambot FC will lock horns with Heart of Lions, and Young Wise will face Ochiman Planets, with Emmanuel FC also tackling Amidao's Professionals.
In NBA action, the Golden State Warriors cruised to a comfortable win over the Utah Jazz to take a 1-0 lead in the Western Conference semi-final series. Let's bring you some highlights. That's all for sports.
Hello, good evening. This segment is brought to you by Cowbell. My name is Valerie Danso. The latest play from playwright Lateef Abubakar, Judas and Delilah, will premiere at the Accra International Conference Center. The news team was at the dress rehearsal of Judas and Delilah.
Betrayal. Traitors.
Okay.
We think there's something we should talk about loud. I mean, it's becoming common and part and parcel of what we're doing now. People see it as, okay, it's normal, but it's one of the biggest sins one can commit. So, looking back far from the days of Judas and then that of Samson. The story for Judas and Delilah is a cheat. It happens in a clinic setting, where a cheat of a watchman is obsessed about a nurse, who is also obsessed.
She's a nurse. I'm still trying to figure out who her character is.
We'll get
go
there.
on. Yeah.
A cheat of a watchman is obsessed about a nurse, who is also the nurse is also obsessed about the doctor, but the doctor stays aloof. Each of them are perfecting their tricks of betrayal. Now the question is, who wins the war of betrayal? Who is the best of the traitor? So that's Judas or Delilah. That's actually what we're going to find out. So among them, who is going to win? We have a Cosmeta Asante. And then you'll be seeing our regular characters that make people happy, excited, and then laugh out loud.
Oh, then this one, I will laugh at you in Indian language. Yes. Please, officer, what is the name of this clinic, October? Mama, please give me 3 cities and me 5 Ghana.
The 7th edition of Ghana Meets Niger has been launched in Accra. The concert aims at bringing the Ghanaian and Nigerian music industries together. Ghana Meets Niger is slated for the 27th of May this year at the Accra International Conference Center. Ghana Meets Niger has been running for 7 years. The concert has brought together the very best acts from Ghana and Nigeria. At the launch of this year's edition, Autry, the saxophonist, thrilled the audience with some performances. Elias the comedian was also on stage.
You will print 100 invitation card inviting only 100 people for your wedding. On the day of the wedding, you go meet 1,000 plus. Who invites them? You don't know. They will just come from nowhere. Different people with different size of stomach. Everybody, their primary aim is to finish your food.
This year's event will see artists like Tiwa Savage, Shatawale, amongst others, performing on stage. The event promises to be more lively and entertaining this year. The segment was brought to you by Cowbell. Have a good evening.
Ridomil Gold Plus. Harvest more cocoa with Ridomil Gold Plus. Ridomil Gold Plus is a highly effective fungicide. Use Ridomil Gold Plus for effective control of black pod disease in cocoa. Ridomil Gold Plus is available in all cocoa inputs shops.
Thank you very much for joining me. Do enjoy GTV.
That's all in this package. Thanks so much for your company. News tonight is at 10. Have a good evening.